My brother-in-law is really a problem.
Your brother-in-law? In what way?
Well, he was always very hardworking, which is a good thing. But lately he's become a total workaholic.
What do you mean?
Well, he goes to work early, before the rest of the family even gets up. And he comes home after the kids have had dinner, so he doesn't get a chance to talk to them. And then, as soon as he finishes eating, he's at his computer working again.
What does your sister say about it?
Well, she asks him to cut down on his working time, and he promises to do that. He tries, but then after a week, he's back to the same thing.
What are you gonna do? It sounds like an impossible situation. Your sister can't force him to not work so much. Maybe he really has to.
Actually, my sister's come to the same conclusion. She's really a sweetheart. She tries not to express her anger about this because she knows he doesn't have much choice. So she basically does the job of two parents.
What a team player.
I'm not sure she sees it that way.
Well, let me tell you about my boss. Listen to what he did yesterday.
What did he do?
Well, he'd been encouraging us to bring lunch to the office so we would spend less time on our lunch hour. A lot of people suspected that he wanted us to eat and work at the same time, which is against company rules, by the way.
So what happened?
Well, then he told everyone we could take only 20 minutes to finish our lunches. Can you believe that? He wants us to eat faster.
You're right. He is a tyrant.
He's just a pain in the neck about everything.
That really does sound like a problem.
But let me tell you about my sister, Emily. She's a total people person.
So do you have any hobbies?
Sure, I think everyone's got some kind of hobby. I like fixing things.
Really? Like what?
Almost anything. I like figuring out how things work.
That's amazing. How did you first get interested in fixing stuff?
I guess it started when I was a teenager. We had an old clock that stopped working, so I gave it a try. After that, my mom or dad would bring me something that wasn't working anymore and ask me to fix it. So I did.
You must have gotten really good at it.
I did. In fact, people in the neighborhood were always asking me to fix their stuff.
And it's still just a hobby? You never tried to make money from it?
No, I just enjoy doing it. It makes me feel good. If someone I know has something that needs to be fixed, I give it my all. What about you? What's your hobby?
Me? I like dancing.
Well, I can understand why you'd enjoy doing that.
I've loved dancing since I was really young. My mom says that when I was a baby, I would dance whenever she listened to music on the radio.
What kind of music do you like to dance to?
Well, salsa's my favorite now, but when I was younger, I would dance to any kind of music, even classical.
Well, I wouldn't call dancing a hobby for me, but I always liked playing the guitar.
That mystery about the Yeti's an interesting one. What do you think?
Frankly, I don't buy it. The mystery's totally far-fetched. I mean, how come no one has ever captured one of them?
Well, they say the Yeti's supposed to be very shy. I've heard that there are a number of other animals that have never been captured either, but those have either been seen or photographed.
Well, it's true that people say they've seen a Yeti, but no one has ever photographed one.
It's weird how people keep claiming to have seen one, though.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Then how would you explain it?
In my opinion, there's no question people are just making up stories. I think someone must have wanted some attention, so he or she just made up the first story about seeing some strange human-like creature, and then other people started doing the same thing.
But someone could have actually seen one. Just because they didn't get a photograph doesn't mean it isn't true.
That would have been more believable years ago, but today, with smartphones, everyone takes pictures, or even better, makes a video.
I see your point. With new technology, you'd think a Yeti would have been photographed by now. But I still wonder if it's possible it could be true.
Then I'll be the first person to admit I was wrong. But clearly, that's not going to happen.
So what about the Nazca lines? How do you think they were made?
Doesn't it seem to you that adult children are living with their parents for longer and longer now?
It does. And sometimes they're living with their parents even after they get married. I don't think people did that so much even 10 years ago.
I don't either, but it's more and more common today. My cousin Linda got married last year, and then her husband lost his job because of the economy.
That's really scary.
It was. Linda was working, but they didn't have enough to buy the apartment they'd chosen. So my uncle and aunt told them it was okay for them to live in their house until they had more financial security.
That was nice of them.
It was. But, I think that's what families are for.
Right? And I actually don't think it's so surprising. More and more households now have 2 or 3 generations living together. And in this economy, the good thing is that the longer adult children can live with their parents without having to pay rent, the more money they'll be able to save in order to move on.
That actually makes sense. Another trend is that people are having children later and later. I'm wondering if that's because of the economy too.
I think you hit the nail on the head. And you know what? It's probably related to their living arrangements too.
What do you mean?
Well, if a young couple is living in their parents' house, there's not much space for children. So it makes sense for them to put that off until they're able to live in their own home. I think in the future, children will have older and older parents. You know what's been driving me crazy? Those pop-up ads. I'm so sick and tired of seeing so many of them. I don't want to be forced to look at them every time I'm reading the news online.
I know what you mean. You're in the middle of reading an article, and all of a sudden, the entire screen is covered by ad after ad.
Hello, haven't you two guys ever thought of getting an ad blocker? I have one, and I don't ever see pop-ups.
Good idea. But ads aren't all bad. Some actually promote good causes. Those can be really different from the ones that are selling things,
What kinds of ads like that have you seen?
Well, just the other day, I saw an interesting ad at the movies for the Arctic Wildlife Fund. It was so good that at the beginning, I didn't even realize it was an ad. I thought it was a documentary.
Really?
Yeah. There were these beautiful pictures of northern Canada with polar bear mothers and cubs playing together. There was no narrator, just music and the sound of the bears jumping into the water. It was so beautiful, it just blew me away.
So when did they ask for money?
At the end, some words came on the screen, something like, "Keep them healthy, keep them playing, the Arctic Wildlife Fund."
I've seen that one. It actually chokes me up. I've read that with global warming, there's less ice, so the polar bears are in trouble. Did you send money?
Not yet, but I'm thinking about it. Have you seen any good ads lately?
Well, only the one on TV with the dancing strawberries. The breakfast cereal ad. I always enjoy that one. It kind of cracks me up the way the strawberry couples dance.
I know, but it seems like they play it every 15 minutes. I don't appreciate being expected to watch that thing 20 times a day.
I know what you mean, but you know what I think? How do you feel about animals being used for research?
Well, if it's research for something that will really help people, I don't see a problem with it. I'm sure it's okay under certain circumstances.
Okay, but what about to test makeup?
They use animals for that?
Yeah, they want to be sure that it isn't harmful to people's skin or eyes, for example. So they try using it on animals first.
Well, again, if using animals for research helps people avoid harm, then I'm for it. But I don't think animals like dogs or cats should be used for that kind of research.
What if they use rabbits or monkeys?
Well, some kind of animal has to be used for research. Otherwise, makeup wouldn't be safe for humans.
Wow, I really disagree. I think using any animal for cosmetic research is morally wrong. There's no reason animals need to be harmed so women can wear makeup. I'm sure alternatives could be found.
That's one way to look at it. But in most cases, the animals probably aren't hurt at all. I just can't get excited about a monkey being forced to wear lipstick or mascara.
Are you kidding? That's not what happens at all. Animals really are harmed in cosmetic research. It's just wrong.
Well, here's what bothers me. I don't like the way animals are treated on farms. I read that cows are being mistreated across.
It really bothers me when people aren't courteous to others in public places, like stores, restaurants, movie theaters, on the street. What about you?
Definitely. I think it's always important to be considerate of other people.
Do you think it's important to speak up when someone isn't?
I think so. If you don't, they won't stop. For example, sometimes teenagers can be pretty noisy, but they don't realize that they're getting on other people's nerves.
That's true.
You don't have to be rude about it, but if you're respectful and you say something, not only would most kids understand, but they might apologize too.
I agree. I think that's true for adults too. I always ask people if they'd be willing either to not smoke or at least not to do it near me. People have always been very considerate when I ask.
So, do you ever do things that annoy other people?
Me? Of course not. I'm perfect. No, seriously. Everyone does something annoying once in a while.
Actually, that's true. I can give you an example. I have a hard time not answering my phone when it rings, even in a theater. I know it must be really annoying to other people.
That's awful. You should either turn it off or at least get up and take your call outside.
Well, I've been trying to do better. Hey, what about you?
I sometimes talk during movies.
No way.
No, it's true. I sometimes get excited about what's going on and I can't help talking about it with my friends. I know it must drive people crazy.
Not only would it drive me crazy, but I'd have to say something to you about it.
I know, I shouldn't do that.
So, what other situations get on your nerves?
I'll tell you what really drives me crazy.
My grandmother says that when she was young, clothes were a little more formal than today. She thinks lots of the things young people wear today are in bad taste.
Like what?
Well, for example, I asked her about what students wore to school. She said that girls always wore dresses, or a nice skirt and sweater, or a blouse, depending on the season.
Didn't they ever wear pants?
Actually, they did, but not jeans. By the way, she thinks the jeans kids wear today are totally inappropriate, especially when they're so tight.
A lot of older people think that.
And she also says most of the jeans kids wear look old and dirty to her. I try to tell her that old-looking jeans are in fashion today.
Right? No one likes jeans that look like a pair of new dress pants.
I told her that. She says she understands that, but she still thinks that in general, jeans are only okay at home or at a friend's house, but definitely not okay for school.
What about the way men dress? Does she have an opinion about that?
She says when she was young, men always wore suits and ties to the office, if they worked in an office. They also dressed more conservatively if they went to a nice restaurant. I guess with men too, it's okay now to wear things that would have been inappropriate 50 or 60 years ago.
Actually, if you look at old movies, you can get a good idea of how most people dressed back then. In some old movies from the 1950s and 60s, you see women at restaurants in evening gowns. That would be crazy today, wouldn't it?
Uh-huh. And the rest of the time, their clothes were so frumpy. And the majority of women wore little hats and gloves on the street. So funny.
Come to think of it, the men walked around in formal hats too.
That's true. I wonder if clothes will continue to change as much in the future as they've changed in the past.
Maybe not that much, but things never stop changing, don't you think?
So, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years? Right now, my goals are a little shorter term than that.
I guess 5 years is a little long term, isn't it? What about your short-term goals?
Well, I just had an interview for a great job, and it really went well. I actually hope to have gotten a job offer by the end of this week.
Hey, that's great.
It is. I really need a job. I'm pretty much drowning in debt right now.
You are? But you're not a big spender, are you?
No, I'm not. But I had to borrow a lot of money for my studies, and my part-time job doesn't even cover my expenses, so I haven't been able to pay back those loans. However, with this new job, I expect to have paid them off by the end of next year. By then, I'll have begun saving a little every month.
Sounds good.
And what about you? What's next for you?
Well, my short-term goal is to start putting away about 10% of my salary. I'm hoping that by the end of the year, I'll have saved enough for a beautiful honeymoon.
A honeymoon? That's great. When are you getting married?
In February. If my fiancé and I both chip in, we can go somewhere really great. We've got our hearts set on Tahiti.
That sounds amazing. Any long-term goals?
I've decided to go to medical school.
Medical school? That's pretty exciting. I've heard it can be expensive, though.
Astronomical, actually. So I intend to keep working for a year before applying. Then, by the time I start, I expect to have saved enough to pay for the first 2 years. After that, my parents have promised to lend me the money if I'm getting good grades.
Well, I'm sure you will.
Thanks. I'm feeling optimistic about that too, but wish me luck.
So do you have any other plans?
Yeah, I'm also thinking.
Have you been going to many plays or musicals recently?
Actually, no, I haven't. But I've been going to a lot of museums.
Really? Which ones?
Well, I love the Museum of Modern Art. I like to go see their exhibits several times each year, but I particularly like small museums, like the Gehry Museum.
What's special about that one?
It specializes in Asian art. They've been featuring some interesting shows this past year, so I've been going there a lot. What about you? Do you like going to museums?
Not really. They're just not my thing. But my wife and I have been going to the theater a lot recently.
Do you prefer plays or musicals?
I like both. If the melodies and lyrics are catchy, musicals are great. When we saw Les Miserables, I couldn't get the songs out of my head for weeks.
I am not too crazy about musicals, actually. There's just too much singing for my taste. I prefer a good play, especially if there's a famous actor in it.
I know what you mean. We saw Carey Mulligan on Broadway in New York 2 years ago. It was really exciting.
That's great. Seems like a lot more movie actors have been performing in plays and musicals lately, doesn't it?
It does. It's fun seeing them on stage.
It must be exciting. I'd love to see my favorite stars acting in